What's going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 23 of Wrestling with Tragedy. We have a very unique episode for you guys today. Not so much for the content, but we have our
Kevin,
first.
I just want to say before I interrupt you, sorry, but see how you start the show, no coughing, no cutting, coming off the screen, saying shit. That's a professional, Pierce. Anyway, back to you.
Come on, man. You got me at a bad time. All right. Fuck you, Angel.
There we go. That's better.
And then I told Angel to go fuck himself, and then he can go and stick it out.
Okay, so anyway, we're going to leave him muted for now. Guys, seriously, thank everybody for the support of the last 22 episodes. We're on 23 today. We're going to be covering part 2 of a topic we already covered, being the Velveteen Dream. But like I was saying, today is a very special day. We have our first guest here with us, somebody who will be joining us. But before we give him the proper introduction that he is due, let's go ahead and talk about our sponsors for a second. Piers, you want to take away our sponsorship plugs?
Absolutely. First is A-Rock Designs. So you see A-Rock Designs everywhere on Facebook. They do custom wrestling cups, hoodies, keychains, tumblers, T-shirts, you name it, they can make it. They can even monogram your dog. They don't recommend it. That's Kevin's line. But they made me this custom CM Punk cup. It is absolutely amazing. They don't just do wrestling stuff either. That they made my kids a couple of cups, my wife a cup. It isn't wrestling related, and they knocked it out of the park. Ashley Rodriguez is a super talented lady, and you need to get yourself one of A-Rock Designs cups or tumblers or design products today.
What's up?
What's up? Guys, every pro wrestling fan wants or owns a championship belt. This is a WASF championship belt in front of you. If you want to get your hands on a custom championship belt or a replica of your favorite championship belt, head over to WASF Championship Belts, and you can speak to either Kevin or myself, and we can organize that for you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot stress this enough. All sales go through Piers or myself. If you do not talk to Piers, if you do not talk to myself, your sale will not be accepted. Sales go through Piers Austin or Kevin Rodriguez only.
And can you elaborate on that? Because I'm kind of lost. What did something happen?
Well, no. So basically what happens is the belt makers don't like to be messaged. People will try to go around the middleman and try to work a different deal. Look, the price is going to be the same. Here's the benefit of going through a middleman. When you go through a middleman and we place the order for you, the belt comes to us, we inspect it. If the belt is wrong for any reason, whether there be a cut in the leather, a dent in the plate, whatever the case may be, you are going to get one of two options. You are either A, going to get a brand new belt sent out, or 2, you have the option to get a refund if you don't want to wait. That is the reason you go through Piers or myself, so we can give it that inspection process. If you just go through a random maker, you're going to get what they send you and your SOL. We all know what that means. So all sales go through Piers and myself to keep you safe, to keep us safe, and to ensure you get the best possible product you can. Sales go through Piers or myself.
Why does the sales go through Saul? Who's Saul?
What? It stands for shit out of luck.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
also guys, we want to thank the band The Cicadas for providing their song The Restriction for our intro. Make sure you go check them out on Facebook and YouTube. They're a great band. But Kevin, we won't leave our guest waiting any longer. Why don't you please bring him in, sir?
So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we are joined today for the first time by a special guest. He comes from Twitch, from YouTube, from just about everything you could possibly think of.
From the heavens above.
His YouTube channel currently has 11.5 thousand subscribers with over 600 videos available on YouTube covering all aspects of professional wrestling with more than 11 million views in total. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, Mr. Ben Hameen. Ben, how you doing, bud?
Yo, well, that's right. You're all shit out of luck here today, Infidels, because it's about to hit the fan, morons. You better call Saul, but it won't do any help for you. Your little lawyer won't protect you, as I, Hacker Hameen, have arrived on Wrestling with Tragedy, Infidels. That's right, and we're going to look through all of your secret text, all of your messages, all of your Pornhub little backlogs. We know everything you're doing here, Infidels, because the inspection has begun. YOLO.
And if you guys want to see any more of
Awesome.
that entertaining quality that Ben brings every single time the camera is on, this is what his YouTube channel. Just type in Ben Hameen. This is what you're looking for, and you'll be able to look through all of his amazing content and his wonderful YouTube library. You can also catch him on Twitch and all that other good stuff. There'll be plenty of plugs throughout the show. But gentlemen, we are here to talk about something that even if you're not a wrestling fan, you have an opinion on. Earlier in our episodes, we covered the Velveteen Dream. We covered
Pedophile.
the voice recognition, the messages from his verified Instagram account, the messages from his verified phone number to both young women and young boys. We've covered just about everything that we knew at the time. There's been more that's come to light since then, and WWE has kind of taken an approach that we are or not used to seeing, depending on how you look at it. It seems to be depending on the name value of the superstar. But anyway, Triple H released a statement saying that after an extensive investigation into the cell phone records, Instagram records, basically everything the Dream was accused of, they found nothing. Am I the only one who finds that to be 100% completely horseshit?
Well, and the thing is, it's funny. What makes Triple H in part of this investigation? Is he in cahoots with the police department? I mean, they're not going to release any type of information until they have their ducks in a row. So what evidence has he shown that he's, they found?
And that's the thing, Angel. Like you just said, you being a former police officer, I'm a current police officer. You don't release information until it is done, and there is new evidence being brought up about this every single day. It seems like you can't go 10 feet down the road or go to the grocery store, whatever the case may be, without something else being said about Velveteen Dream. Throughout this entire Speak Out movement, we've seen numerous stars: Austin Theory, Jack Gallagher, Velveteen Dream, numerous people on the independent scene, Dave Christ, Joey Ryan. The list goes on and on. But the one that keeps reoccurring every single day, something else coming out about him, is the one person who was found to be innocent by WWE. What the fuck?
What do you think, Harmon?
I'm not going to sit here much longer and let you guys talk bad about investigations, because this is the crack investigation squad that went through the Ring of Honor stuff and found nothing apparently as well. And they've done all their due diligence here, and he looks to be A-okay. No, this is a bunch of bullshit. It's Triple H's baby with NXT, so he doesn't want a black eye on it. Black eye, not black guy. Well, maybe that's
We already have that guy with Angel.
Right. Well, that's what they got rid of Keith Lee. There was too much. Here's the big thing is he knew it was coming before Speaking Out movement. He knew this stuff was going to happen. So Velveteen Dream went to a lawyer, got out in front of it. The lawyer went, like any lawyer worth his salt would do, Better Call Saul, would look at the laws in Florida and who was actually the accuser. And I guess because of the distance between their ages, maybe 24. I'm not sure what Velveteen Dream is, and when this happened, and that kid was 17, even though he's considered a minor because of the distance between their ages. Like it'd be a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old.
Mm-hmm. He was 19 at the time.
All right, so they're not going to zap him for that because it falls within, whatever in the state of Florida that has some fuck your cousin law or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And he knew he was going to be all right to not be prosecuted. Doesn't mean he's not guilty of sexual trolling, of going after younger. And if that behavior is there, chances are it's going to spiral down farther into some pseudo sexuality. And then 17 becomes 16, 16 becomes 15. And now where are we going? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
before we get too far off, one thing I do want to ask, because we kind of given our opinion on this in the first episode. Ben, you weren't here for that, so I'd really love to get your take on it. When you look at guys like, and I want to use gentleman Jack Gallagher as prime example, he was released without question, no questions asked. He was gone. He didn't have the name value that Velveteen Dream has. He didn't have the skill or ability, or maybe he does, but he wasn't used the same way Velveteen Dream is. Velveteen Dream has been compared to, the next Rock, the next Savage, the next whatever the case may be. Do you think because of his ability and the way they used him in the ring, they were more lenient with him than they were with other people?
Well, isn't that the effed up part of this whole world where your phony celebrity dictates whether or not you're thrown on the chopping block? A phony wrestling push in what the amount of TV time you've had versus who you really are and what you're really doing may put you at a higher priority because the company sees more in you as opposed to the other guy. And then that's kind of an easy outsider's perspective. Maybe the Jack Gallagher thing was cut and dry and they knew it and they had to cut and run right there, where this, like, the investigation that Triple H claims, it really is nothing more than the lawyer knowing the law that he can't be prosecuted, even though the claims are salacious. That's the extent of the investigation. They know that he's done all this other stuff. They know about, you know, the bisexuality and probably bipolarity of what he's doing. And even as a, let's be honest, they're fooling themselves with this false positive in Florida that they're over as a third brand. NXT is developmental. They're not making mainstream money. They think they're over because they're on TV and they got 2,000 marks that say fight forever or whatever, and that they think they're up on a higher level as a star than they truly are. Is there money on them? Sure. But this whole business, and I was told this, is run by one of three people: queers, carnies, or drug addicts. Which one are you? Like, you know, so this guy, I think you can probably tell which category he's going to fit in there. And, you know,
possibly a combination of two of them.
Most people are. Yeah. Most people are. But you know, he out-carnied him before he got out in front of it. The speaking out movement, it doesn't change what he did behavior-wise. It's the fact that Florida has the loophole law, and Triple H and them feel confident that they can go, we conducted an investigation, they're fine. They just know that they got their nuts out of the fire. And now
one other thing, and then I'll take a back seat and let other people talk. Do you think that was the biggest difference between them? And I'm not trying to turn this into an interview. Just, you weren't here for the first episode when we kind of voiced our opinions on it.
Keep rubbing it in. Loves rubbing it in that I'm not on the first episode. Can't get
it. Do you think that was the biggest difference between a guy like Enzo Amore versus Velveteen Dream, who kind of sat back and let it play out before he said something?
Enzo was kind of he was ahead of the curve on cyber stalking and being exposed. Like, you know, like he was before the speaking out cancel culture really took effect. Plus, he's a guy who's got backstage heat, who is on the main roster, and it's more fun for them to cut throats than it is to do anything to protect their talent. You know, you see what they've done with Mickie James in the last 2 weeks, just based off of Bruce's stupid little bullshit heat with Magnus online. That's how petty they are. So now figure in some big shit with Enzo and then his tag partner, who's been proven obviously to be an unstable individual since his departure as well. Like, they want to bring them back just to fuck with you and test you, because it's more fun to them to do that and watch you not know why it's happening. You know what I mean? So to cut Enzo's throat to them is like, set him up, watch him dance. Oh, he's going to fall some more. Oh, he's falling farther. Yeah, we got him. And now let's all go in. And, oh, sorry, bro. It's just too much of a liability. And we just creative doesn't have anything for you. Out he goes, nervous breakdown. And they're even laughing about that when his rap videos come out and things along those lines. They look, that dude from front to back, they love that shit. Like, that's the sickness of being a high level throat cutter in this business, man. And that's what it takes to be up there.
And that's the sad part, you know what I'm saying? Pierce, what do you think?
Look, I think that the investigation that Triple H has come out and said that they've done, like, I want to know how detailed they went into it. I mean, there's photos, there's voice messages, there's text messages coming from a verified account. Velveteen
he even
Dream
admitted that he took those photos.
I'll piggyback off that in a sec. Go ahead, Pierce.
You know, Velveteen Dream is so clearly guilty in this situation. But then, you know, Ben made a point that the fact that Velveteen was 19 and the boy was 17, I think it was actually one of the guys he was messaging was about 15 or 16.
It was a 15-year-old.
There was multiple young boys.
The way the report had it,
17. The
one they were focusing on, the way the report had it, was a 15-year-old young male. But just really quick, Piers, you brought up the photos, and he admitted that the photos were of him and that he took the photos. He just said he was hacked.
Right.
Now, if you take that exact argument and you just plug it into something else, you guys know that I collect firearms. I love my firearms. I have a gun safe right here in the corner of my bedroom. Yeah, the gun was mine. Yeah, the bullets were mine. But he went into my safe and shot himself. I am still liable because it was in my house. It was my firearm. It was my ammo. All that good. You plug that situation into any other crime, and you don't get off scot-free.
Well,
And even if you said, like, if my gun was stolen, they're gonna say, did you file a police report? Why didn't you file? They're gonna dig in deep, and you're still gonna be held liable.
You're still accountable at some point.
Let me ask you guys this though: have you seen the messages of the exchanges that he had with these young gentlemen?
A couple of them.
Yeah, I did a
just
couple.
There was messages of him saying, "Hey, send me a photo of you with no shirt on. Send me a photo of your chest. Send me a photo of your back. I want to see how much you've grown with the muscle training thing." For me, reading a lot, like I went through pretty much all of the messages that I could find online from those transcripts, and for me, it came across like he was grooming these boys for something. He was grooming them for sex, or maybe just for him to take nude photos and send to him.
Yeah,
Well,
this is gonna sound bad as shit because we're '90s guys, and blame it on Angel and ECW and all that shit of corrupting us all. Like the heat on them, but like I don't want to belittle sexual predatory things against teenagers. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But I have to take a time out and go, dude. At 17 years old, I was going to the club drinking 3-for-1 fuzzy navels and smashing strippers during the summer of my 17th year. So like we say 15 and 16 years old, and we act like they're babes in the woods still of what they're doing. They're out there, especially in a hyper technology age where everything is pseudo-sexualized instantly, especially when you're 15 and 16. That's what your whole life is. The music is. Everything you're seeing on MTV is pushing you to be that. You know what I mean? You're discovering your own sexuality. It's not like he's just out there in the dark web looking for things along those lines. Now, that being said, on the other side, he checks off everything that's pseudo-sexual weird that Vince McMahon and the upper brass wants. They always want to take a black man and either cuck him or feminize him. Boom, he's doing that himself right out of the gate, right? Then we're going to play the gay card. That's all written into his stuff as well. And then when he actually tried to step up with Vince McMahon on his tights and all that shit, what they do, they stomped his ass right down again and took his push away. So he's definitely a little plaything on their radar that meets all of the weird racism and pseudo-sexuality that they wrap up into their Bobby Lashley segments, their Lana stuff all the time. That's another reason why he's probably endeared to them. How about the smashing of the car back in February as well? That's an interesting, what got these guys in Florida who are at developmental making $750 to maybe $1,500 a week. They're not. Don't let them be fooled that they're making $6,000 a week like a main roster person would be. And what? Maybe their merch backs it up, but like they think they're so over that they've got themselves fooled down there that. I'm on the third brand, so we can do what we want and we love it. We don't have to go on the road and we're stars just like they are. And then these behaviors of smashing cars manifest themselves when you are delusional that you are over in wrestling as a superstar. The reality is you're just in a warehouse factory system and you were a real wrestling fan. Everybody else they bring in is a mark. That's why you shine a little bit more than everybody else. That's why it wasn't Tough Enough. They didn't know shit. I remember him being in the kitchen and they didn't even know Ric Flair, 16-time champ, and he was like scoffing at them like when ZZ and all them were in there.
Yeah, I remember that.
Marks they brought in who never should even step foot in the ring. He was the only one. Him and Chelsea Green were the only 1 and 2 that actually had any wrestling credibility. So even since then, he's been on their radar. Sorry to go on, but I wanted to see.
No, you're fine. But you know what gets my blood boiling is that Triple H thinks he's Commissioner Gordon in Batman. That he's like, we did our appropriate investigation. We concluded, no, dude, you consulted your attorney, and what Ben's saying that your attorney says, no, this is what's going on. You're good. And that's what pisses me off, that he makes it seem like he went through this whole investigative process. Now,
I'll add one thing in there, Angel, is the sponsors didn't say anything. We saw that with Mae Young when they did the Mae Young Classic, and Snickers was like, look, we ain't touching that. They Moolah, I apologize. the Fabulous Moolah when they were going to put her name on the women's battle royal. Snickers was just like, look, not going to happen. You ain't putting our name on that. So they pulled her name from it. If there would have been a major sponsor said, look, we don't give a shit if he's innocent or not. We ain't going near that motherfucker. They would have fired. They would have shit canned him immediately.
And
Well,
you
that's
know
the
what?
thing that they don't do. WWE don't act precautionary; they act reactively, and they act reactively, I should say. And that's the thing. They just sit there and they go, "Okay, we'll be quiet. Let's see if happen. Fuck! The sponsor found out. All right, now what? He should not be on TV until this is
waiting for the heat to pass, bro. Angel will tell you all about that when it comes through. You just look the fuck down. Maybe it won't land on me, dude. And there won't be heat by association. That's exactly the game they're playing.
I mean, I found myself watching that ladder match they just had for the North American Championship and TakeOver 30, and I very much enjoyed the match. I was having a good time watching it, and I saw Velveteen climbing the ladder, and there was nobody else in the ring, and it looked like he was going to win the championship, and I immediately wanted to turn my TV off. I was like, if he touches that fucking title, I don't give a shit about NXT or that belt ever again.
I'm gonna have to take your titles away after putting over that shit burner of a I want to be a wrestler, play wrestler ladder match that was a spot fest abortion.
Listen. You're sitting here knocking NXT. NXT is way better than Raw or SmackDown has been in the last God knows how long.
All right, you want to eat shit or you want to eat diarrhea? Which one do you want to fucking eat? Okay, so there's your choices. Like, I'm done putting developmental one over the other.
That was a good match.
No, it was not a good match.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Dude, they sacrificed this. What is the gimmick of the match?
It's a ladder match.
To climb the ladder and get the belt. Go back and count. I counted no less than 14 spots that were about egregious getting your shit in. Fuck this match. I have to set up to get my corny ass beauty pose, or I have to do something with the ladder that's not gonna.
I'm not saying it wasn't a spot fest, but it was entertaining.
It was dog shit. Like, and I know you're the champ. You have belts to back it up. But if you want to talk about how to really put a match together and what it was, that was a bunch of guys that they brought in who play wrestler who aren't really wrestlers. In my opinion.
I would love nothing more. Now we're here to talk about the Velveteen Dream. We're here to talk about, everything that surrounds that. But I would love nothing more than for another episode to absolutely pick your arguments apart and show you who the real detective of social media is.
All right,
Mr. Humming.
How many matches have you put together, champ?
What do you mean put together? Like book a card?
Like from booked. How many ladder matches have you booked from top to bottom with 6 guys in it or 8 guys to like do the business instead of it being a spot fest and tell a real match? I'm not trying to come out and shoot on you, but
no, not at all. This is the premise of the show.
Yeah, like that. The reality of how you put a match together, that was all self-serving and did nothing to serve the gimmick of actually winning. It was a spot fest from a bunch of dudes who want to do video game wrestling instead of actually telling the story and a gimmick of a match to get somebody over. The only person who got over was the dude with long hair, Damian Priest, right? That's his name. And even when he went up there, it was the come up the ladder so he can come over the top and go, look at me. That's all self-serving shit. You go up the ladder, what do?
Get the belt.
You get the belt.
Fucking A right, you get the belt. So as soon as you come up there and go, that's for Triple H in the back, some bullshit that we got to get something in. You just killed the match. You killed the believability. Big man trying to climb straight up while they got the ladder vertical.
That's
out. Like,
I'm not saying they didn't.
And Ben is right because if
I'm not saying they didn't fuck the pooch on this. I'm not saying that they didn't do self-serving shit. I'm not saying that they didn't go into business for themselves. They clearly did, but it was entertaining.
But he's making a point because it's just like a football game. You're running for the make that touchdown, and then you stop and do the icky shuffle and the 1 yard line and then get tackled.
Weren't you the one just before he came on screen saying that Ben doesn't know what he's talking about and you don't know why we asked him to come on?
That was Pierce, man, because he just said he's just taking his spotlight.
That's it, man.
Oh, shut the fuck up, man.
I get about things that I think are absolutely killing wrestling, and That's a WWE perfect version. Now you want to talk about a great match with a fuck finish? Pat McAfee stole the show doing Rip Rogers nothing, a headlock, get 2 spots in to let the guy shine, and then Adam Cole fucked the finish. That was a phenomenal match. The spot fest before that was a complete abortion, self-serving, want to play wrestler. I don't get it. And I'm just going out there to do AEW style shit that is meaningless.
Yeah. I could see that, and you just got a quick preview of what's going to happen on some other show with Kevin and I mean, but hey, but you know,
and Angel Service special referees.
I could do that. But you know, it's funny. When you know, I got my friends in WWE, and one day when they came to Wichita, we were talking at the table. And I said, hey, man, I don't see how the boys don't go out anymore. Like, he goes, Angel, this ain't the 90s, man, where you can go out and do what you want and party. Everybody got a phone. Everybody's taking pictures of you in the room while you're sleeping and with these rats and stuff. They monitor your social media. They don't even want you with a beer in your hand because you'll get in trouble for it. That's why a lot of boys stay in their hotel room, because they don't want any problems. And this is from one of the boys on the upper, you know, main eventer guys that I'm pretty close with. But that's the weirdest thing. Like, he's telling me that they're watching you and making sure you ain't fucking up or even drinking the wrong beer or hanging in the wrong bar. And also Velveteen Dream just tap dances his way through this bullshit instead of being like, you know what, we're going to put you on the back burner.
That's because while everybody's hanging out at a bar, he's going to Chuck E. Cheese.
He's going to the playground. Hey, little boy.
Oh, he's deep. He's deep in the ball.
Would you like a lolly?
You want to play docking, you know, and but the thing is, that's the thing. It's just that when you hear it from the boys from WWE, but they're like, this is the rule. This is what's going on. We have to be on our P's and Q's. We can't do shit because we're afraid to get heat. Then all of a sudden, this fucker, you know, does stupid shit. He should be blessed that he's in a spot. He should be minding his own business, reading books, you know, and doing something to avoid any type of bullshit. And then he's fucking around on social media, knowing that shit might come up and bite him in the ass. That's what I don't understand.
A majority of this shit that happened with Velveteen Dream, Angel, happened years prior. So this happened when he was on. A lot of this stuff happened when he was on Tough Enough. Like, that's when it originally started. Majority of it.
Well, who gives a shit? Because look at the other boys. Look at the other boys who bitches are coming out of the woodwork 10, 15 years ago saying like, so and so did this to me.
Look what happened to Sammy Guevara for a comment he made 4 years ago that he already apologized for, that they had already, you know, buried the hatchet for. But he said it on public podcast 4 years ago, even though he'd already apologized to Sasha. Sasha accepted the apology, and they were good. Look what happened to him 4 years later.
I would love to see a fat rat come out of the woodwork and say Angel did this back in ECW. Go fuck yourself. I never forced any female to do anything. You know, from the slip and slide dildo incident, that's a different story. I ain't gonna talk about it. To the fucking to the wheelchair guy being pinned to the bed, and I'm like, holy shit. I gotta go. You know, I seen shit that will make
this show took such a dark turn.
No, but the thing is, I would love to see some fucking skank come out of nowhere and said the Kingpin did some force them to do something, because I never forced no fat bitch to do anything that they didn't want to do, with midgets, with fucking Singapore cane sticks, to being chopped in the bedroom and taking a bump on
somebody losing their ring.
Yeah, somebody losing their ring and then coming to the show and says, "Hey, I'm pregnant." Holy shit! Hold on a second, let me get him. You know, that's the problem. It's just that these girls and dudes, whatever, are coming out from something that was done years ago. And if it was such a big deal, they should have reported it then. Now fucking bring it up now and try to ruin somebody's career. You know, that's just using me. I'm off my soapbox.
But that's the thing. If like, and we're getting off topic here, but let's talk about the speaking out movement. If some of these guys, these things happened years prior, and these people weren't big names, but they were just independent guys with, you got a little bit of an indie following, would they still get called out? I mean, we've seen indie guys get called out, but it's usually that top of tier guy. That
look at Tessa Blanchard and her speak out movement. When all this happened, you know, her using the N-word in Japan on a black wrestler, or her being a bully, being a bully in the locker room.
Narcissism? That's narcissist?
Her being a bully in the locker room and all this other stuff. Nobody said a word. And then TNA books her to win the world title. Well, their world title. And then literally the night before it happens, Chelsea Green, Sienna, Priscilla Kelly, everybody is talking about how trash she is. It's awfully funny you waited until the night before she was going to win the Impact World Championship before you said something.
Of course. Welcome to professional wrestling. This is what the throat cutters are about, bro. Where you guys, to back up there, of why does it go on and why don't people say anything? Because when you know it, you got that as a trump card to play over somebody who's going to take your spot, who big leagued you on the way up. You're like, oh yeah. I know that Dave Lagana offered this guy to suck his dick for a push, but nobody's heard about that yet. Oh yeah, I'll take and hold on to that one. Like, like all these little things. And then when it's your time to fucking shine because you worked the office and you played your politics and they want to make you the champ, all those people you wronged, you think they don't got their own little group message, Sienna, Chelsea Green, and they're ready to drop the bomb, boom, 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 boom on her like a carpet bombing? Absolutely, to lower her value. Now, if she was to go and, she went and married Dog or whatever, they didn't do the shit with the belt and didn't want to bring that back. And obviously there's things with her taking dumps on fucking audio and all that shit. Like,
oh man, it sounded like a wet deck of cards.
Yeah, and then she's
I was wondering if we were going to make it through the Tessa Blanchard incident without talking about her taking a shit.
And then she's trying to pull a Warrior and hold them up for $150,000 for a title that you could probably get.
That WASF belts could make for $480.
You got it, man. So she's fooling herself. Now, what would happen? Of course, you want her where? AEW with Tully, and you want to have women that are actually competent who know how to fucking wrestle. That helped too.
Keyword being women.
Yeah, well, on any given Sunday, then like what's going to happen if they wanted to make that happen? Those girls are just laying in wait. Allison Kay can't wait to fucking come back in AK-47. Where I heard she got signed. Oh yeah, well here's this trump card, this and this bitch says that. Is that a women's evolution? Are they evolved? It's the same catty shit.
It's like they tell you you're third in line for a push. Okay, so there's two people ahead of me. Here's two trump cards to knock them out of the way. Now I'm in front.
Or you let them go up there because they're at the edge of the cliff already and their lives have spun around. And that's what it takes to get up there, to be a Shawn Michaels, to cut throats, to be the top guy when you're only 5 foot, whatever, But when they get there, you're close to the edge and somebody else wants to knock you off based on the dirt that they got on you. How are you going to be able to do that dance? I just wanted to back up too. And this is a little bit tough for me to talk about because I'm very close with somebody who's 1 degree of separation from it. But the ROH stuff is a prime example of this. When we talked about, they said, we're going to have an investigation into Skrull. Skrull gets out in front of it, admits to what happened in the Indies, whatever it was, 6-7 years ago, like these ghosts of the past coming to haunt you again. Right. And who knows what other behavior. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Like, rats are going to rat. Like, you don't go and hang out with wrestlers who are muscle dudes who are over sexualized, not knowing what you're in it for. It's not some fucking, how did I get here on the Wu-Tang Clan bus getting bukkakied? I don't know. Like, like they're not clueless that way. But so Skrull gets the big job pulled from him as head of creative, as they push that under, and then they bring back Delirious, and there's other guys that are in upper management who were there before and knew all this was going on, covered it up, and then Joey Mercury is kind of going off on Twitter every day exposing Jay Lethal, Joe Koff, hammering on Skrull, all these things, and he's got his own issues too. He's a friend, but I hope he's doing well. But all you're going to do is take out one dude who's been exposed as a scumbag and plug in somebody else. There's no clean slate wipe where the management who allowed it to happen, the people who were doing it, the people who covered it up, you're just shifting one for another. There's never a like, all right, let's bring in Russo, Hameen, and Stevie. We know they don't have any skeletons. We really want to get this going. You know what I mean? Every switch is another bad idea.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, everyone's got skeletons in their closet, and we are sort of going into that speaking out movement where we're just seeing things piling and piling and piling and piling out. But to bring us back onto the Velveteen Dream, where does it go from here? If this is now a police investigation, is that mean that the police that Triple H said the investigation's been done? Is that internal and police are they talking about, or is that just internal
I think they
WWE?
know that it can never go to court, so the cops will never even. I mean, you guys would know this better, right? If you know you got an unwinnable case because of X law, all you can do is start a file on the guy and wait until he fucks up again, like a serial molester, right? Because this time around in this situation, it's an unwinnable case. So why would the police waste their time on it?
Yeah, Triple H would not put him on TV. Wouldn't bring him back if he didn't have counsel from his attorney saying, "Hey, you're good." Because if there was still some type of like a little type of like doubt, they would have not brought him back on TV. So they think they know they're solid. That's why he's saying what he's saying.
Yeah,
yeah, and it could have even been something that I'd hate to say a payoff or anything, but when it's not going to go to court and you're not going to win, the first thing any defense attorney who's worth his weight in anything is going to try to do is talk you into settling outside of court. So maybe they came to some kind of agreement. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I can't speak for fact, but in my line of work, whenever you know that you are not going to win, obviously you don't want to take it to court, because how does every lawyer become a DA? Well, what's your conviction rate? And they don't want to try a case that they're going to lose. So what they'll try to do is they'll try to find some way to settle.
There are lawyers that just want to make a name for themselves, though, win or lose, going after WWE to get headlines. So there is opportunity there for scumbags lawyers to do what they want to do and pick the bones like the vultures that they are. So I don't know if they're out of the woods yet on this, Pierce. The other part of that is his whole gimmick is walking that line of Prince androgyny sexuality, and coming off of what he did here, that's a scary thing. Will they masculine side him up a little bit more and get rid of the gay predatory, make you feel kind of weird side of it?
Let me just throw out a bit of information here. So the young gentleman that accused Velveteen Dream, Josh Fuller, took to Twitter after Dream's return over frustration of WWE bringing him back. Fuller used the speaking out movement to reveal that he was 16 when he met Dream on an indie show, and Dream was 19. Fuller claimed that Dream wanted to keep their relationship a secret, and how he tried to get Fuller to show him his full body and allegedly promised to help get Fuller into WWE. Fuller wrote on Twitter following the return that no one from WWE contacted him for their investigation. That it was noted WWE has not commented on the investigation into Dream's allegation by his accusers. Fuller tweeted, "I'm pissed," going into saying that how stressed he was over the speaking out movement, and how, like, if he was just making this up, it was going to affect his career because he is an independent wrestler. And it sounds like this guy is struggling mentally with it, and mentally to see Dream back. Do you think that this guy is going through some depression post incident, now seeing this guy essentially getting away with something? Or do you think this guy is, like, all the facts and evidence are there to say that Dream's done this stuff? Like, you can say that someone hacked his phone and all that shit, but hey, do you really buy that?
Absolutely. I think he's going through some kind of depression or, remorse, not really remorse, but regretting speaking out. And this is something that we talked about whenever somebody comes forward. And the problem I have with the speak out movement all the way around is let's just say 150 people came out and said that something happened. Out of those 150 people that done it, maybe 4 actually have legitimate reasons to speak out. Those 4 are now way beneath the pile, not going to get the attention they deserve because all these other people have come out. So the reason I bring that up is when you have somebody who legitimately has a reason to speak out, but you have all these people doing it out of spite, his is not going to get the attention it deserves. And then when you have the courage to speak up and you have the courage to say, hey, this happened, and you see that nothing happens about it, you are less likely to speak up the next time. Now other people are less likely to speak up because, well, they didn't do anything to that guy. Why are they going to do anything to this guy? I can't stand it, man.
He states this guy, and look, if they had 150 accusations against Dream, their legal team would have been looking into every single one of those accusations to see which had weight in it. You know, like this guy reading what he said, and I quote, "It's a really shitty feeling that I feel like I can't say the things I want to about everything because of fear over my wrestling career. That shouldn't be okay. In retrospect, I'm glad I didn't share things anonymously because it would have had the same impact, but the paranoia that comes with everything really fucking sucks. I'm doing okay. I'm just really, really mad that this shit is being tolerated and trying to be swept under the rug." And he goes on to another bit as well. So, you know, to me, that's someone like, I don't look, it's hard to really read in through text how people are really sounding. But for someone to go to that level to keep going it on, if this was a false claim, you know, and he was back on television.
I don't think it was. I
kind
think
of
there's
feel
way
it.
too much evidence for it to be a false claim.
I'm not saying it is a false claim, but I'm saying if it was, this guy wouldn't then be continuing to speak out post the investigation or WWE's claim to an investigation. He even said that they didn't even contact him for an investigation. If you're looking into someone who is, you know, contacting minors, sending sexually explicit materials and grooming, essentially grooming them for sex, wouldn't you go straight to the source and say, okay, tell me what happened. Give me the information you've got. Show me the data.
Show me the cold facts.
Exactly. Well, you would be going there and you'll be trying to get the exact information from the people. When did this happen? How did it happen? How did you meet? Getting that information to complete a thorough investigation. Otherwise, you just, okay, Dream, did you do it? No. Okay. Was that the investigation?
Kind of sounds like it.
Are you guys saying this kid was an indie worker too, and he was worried about getting over if he spoke out? Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, that's what he said in his tweet. He said
Like,
he
here's
was
the
worried
thing.
about it.
And this goes almost back to the ladder match of playing wrestling. I don't claim it to be right, and sure, we should clean up our corporate culture and systemic racism or sexual abuse or whatever. But at the end of the day, this shit is and will always be the Carney Mafia. You're not going to come in and be like, it's a safe space for me now because I spoke out and I made the industry better. It's one shark is going to, and this is, you don't want to be on the casting couch in Hollywood. Chances are you're not going to get cast in a fucking Quentin Tarantino film. Okay, like you don't want to blow Harvey Weinstein, you're probably not going to get very far. So the fact that you want to be like, well, I'm scared of this, that, and the other, that I won't get booked on this indie or whatever. Who do you think runs the indies? That same group of people I just talked about, those three: queers, carnies, and drug addicts. And they're going to use you. And if you speak out, they're going to see you as a liability because they're not going to know. They're going to know that you've labeled yourself as somebody who can't shut the fuck up. What happens in the mafia when you go and turn rat and you go out, you get a bullet in the back of your fucking head, an ice pick, and it's your best friend that does it. Right. Mm-hmm. And they think that this shit is going to change because in this social media, look at me now for 15 minutes and the spotlight is on me. Well, you needed that spotlight more than you really wanted to be in this business. And now you fucked it up and shown that you can't be one of the boys because the boys keep secrets, no matter how dark and how fucking dangerous, to use against other ones later. And the fact that you're breaking omerta doesn't mean that wrestling's changing for the better. It means that you're clueless and you never would have got it anyway on how to sit down and shut the fuck up and keep your mouth shut as we all go do this business together. Yeah. So that they've already ruined it for themselves. And Velveteen Dream being back on TV shows that he does know how to shut the fuck up in the face of wild adversity and allegations, and he can stay over. You know what I mean? So the reality is this is just a social media mob mentality of a movement where everybody wanted to jump on it, and some cry wolf, like you're saying. Somebody accused Congo Kong, this kid who's Congo Kong, my tag partner, of intimidating him and, you know, just like in the locker room in front of everybody and made him feel small. I'm like, how the fuck far are you going to go with this crybaby fucking bullshit? And that does lessen a true assault like Ashley Macero's in fucking, Iraq, where she's being raped by soldiers and the cocksuckers leave her there in Iraq and take off on the top 20 jet with Vince later to only kill herself. That's a real fucking sexual assault and rape tied to wrestling.
You guys remember the case I've been trying to talk about since we started this thing?
Yeah.
I have been begging to do that show, Ben.
It's
I've
Matt.
been begging to do that show.
I mean, when you want to talk about Lawler in Memphis, let's talk about the whole Memphis police force that's covered up fucking him assaulting underage girls for 40 years. Like, when are these fucking big bombs going to drop? Not, I'm a closet gay 16-year-old indie worker who was pursued by a 19-year-old gay indie worker turned NXT star who I wanted to get close to and use my weird pseudo-sexuality as a way to get in. But then 5 years later, when it's a hot topic, I'm going to claim I was a victim and I was groomed, because groomed is a fucking hashtag buzzword right now. Let's get real about the fucking players in the game here, instead of making one seem like a babe in the woods and the other coming through with a big net. I'm going to get you and tickle your balls. No, they're all the carny queers and they're all in on it from the jump, dude.
I just think a lot of these workers nowadays are just overly sensitive, and
Are they? They're
it's the generation though. Is like, I think it's the times in the generation.
But you know what's
like,
funny?
you see people were like,
that wannabe wrestler shit, that wannabe superstar transitions to ladder matches like that for guys who don't get it. They don't get it how to be superstars and protect the business. They don't know how to kayfabe and shut the fuck up. And they don't know how to land pussy or a random gay ass on the side and keep it quiet. A real worker would know how to do that. So they're from the jump, man.
But you know what's funny, and I already told this story, but I told you the Jake Roberts story when I first got into the business, where I was in the locker room, new kid. How you doing, sir? How's everybody? The typical handshake, and he's gimmicked up. He's all gimmicked up. And he goes, hey, kid, have you ever seen roast beef? And we're in the locker room. I'm like, no, sir. And he drops his pants and he spreads his ass. And then he turns around and he goes, hey, check this out. And he cocks all out and he has a tattoo of Cheryl over his cock. And I'm looking at it and I look at him and I look at it. And then I go, but look, all these years later, do you see me go with a blanket? I'm like, it's a fucking crazy old man at the time.
At 2CW in 2014 when he was there, he's doing the same. Like, when he went and did DDP yoga, the before and after pictures, he's got a Syracuse shirt on. We picked him up at the airport. He bought the fucking Syracuse shirt. Get him the 12-pack, take him to the show in Utica. He's pulling his old nuts out, walking around the fucking locker room with his nuts out. He sticks his dick in the producer's ear, who's just sitting there at Gorilla, like thinking it's a fucking rib. The shit don't change. These behaviors don't change. They just get reinforced over and over and over again. So if he's doing that there, you think he's not doing that shit in AEW? You think those social justice motherfuckers there aren't just waiting to like, wow, look at it. I can't believe he just did that. There's a trump card. There's a trump card. Like, all this shit still goes on, and the clueless fans have no idea.
And that's the thing. That's just what bothers me. It's like, I was trained in the business. It is what it is. Fuck it. If it happens, I mean, I seen shit in Puerto Rico where, and I know he's dead now. Victor Quinones, he was a closet homosexual. Great guy. Never bothered me. But there were some of the boys he loved, young, blonde hair, blue eye, new guys. And in the locker room, a lot of the young boys were getting paid $75 a match, but they were doing things on the side to get a push. And, and these guys were, and some of these guys, they were doing all that stuff. And two guys from Texas, great guys, man. Ross and Craven, I always remember them. And Victor was just like, every time he started drinking, bro. And Savio, and I don't give a fuck if Savio Vega sees this shit and all the boys, Dutch Mantel, all those motherfuckers. The thing is that they were at a restaurant and everybody was seated in a different position. The guy got up, I think it was Ross. He gets up and he goes to the bathroom and they fucking they switch chairs. So they reorganized the chair. So he had to sit next to Victor. So when he came back, he's like, what? He saw that his chair was gone, and it was rearranged. So he had to sit next to Victor. And Victor's like the guy from Eurotrip massaging his shoulders, and say, I'll make you champion, kid. I'll make you a fucking star.
Why do you think that no promoters ever hit on me? Aren't I good looking? Don't you think I'm sexual enough?
I mean, unless you like buttermilk poured on your asshole. I mean, I don't know if
tag champ and Northeastern champ. I can't get that world title. I got to get that Chili's sitting next to the promoter spots.
But the thing was, is he comes up to me And he goes, Ainge, I don't know what to do, man. This motherfucker just keeps hounding me and touching me and fucking bothering me. I'm gonna fucking choke this motherfucker. You know, how would you handle it? And I said, dude, I don't know, because you don't fuck with me. I'm all beat up and I don't have that look. Just tell him, man, fuck him, tell him. And he didn't want to lose his spot. He didn't want to cause any heat, so he just kept his mouth shut and just let the sexual advances kept coming and kept coming. Nothing happened. He just had to bite the bullet so he keep getting his push.
And if you were, I mean, a serious scumbag worker, and even if you're straight and you want that push and you want to, now you act like you're half a queer, that you ask for more money, you entice this dude because you know you got your hooks into him because he's got some sexual dysfunction where he wants you. You might not give him ass, but a simple graze on the thigh or something might get you $400 more payday in a main event, right? So some workers are going to be able to handle it. Some are going to freak out and go, what is going on? Like along those lines. It's just where your mind is at, is being able like
to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just being a cock tease. If you know, as long as you just give him a little shoulder rub, and he's like, and nothing, you know, and don't let nothing happen. I mean, you know, and trust me, I know some boys who've done things that are not gay and went to the level to like, God, the casting couch shit, and had wife and kids, and they did it just to fucking get the heavyweight title shot. Sure. And this is people in Puerto Rico, names, you know.
That's the thing, man. Let's you know, not to get completely off topic here, but imagine how many of the Pat Patterson's Cream Team actually end up being a champion in WWF.
100%.
Like we could go down and look through the names and go.
I heard stories about Lex Luger, Shawn Michaels. I mean, I heard Buff Bagwell. I mean, I heard stories. Again, I wasn't there. They're just rumors. But I mean, when you hear, you know, telephone, telegram, tele-wrestler, you know, I mean, I take it for fact because, I mean, I know it's rumors, but you're like, you know, it's the business, you know.
Yeah, that's not something anybody wants to talk about out of hat. You know what I mean? To be like, you know what? Here's the gay talk of the week. Like, you know.
You just see Pat Patterson standing above Shawn Michaels. Think of the goal.
I just think the Velveteen Dream has so much shit on him. I don't see why they because everybody else is getting shit canned and he's just walking around like he's the Teflon Don, and he's not being held accountable.
What did that tell you there?
But that's the thing. If say for example, you know, it wasn't just closer to an age thing, but he actually is a fucking predator, pedophile, scumbag, piece of shit, cocksucking cunt. Sorry, I had to get all that in there, boys. But all right, this guy now has gotten off from all of that shit, which means if he is that sort of person who is that sort of mental thing,
he's gotten off from a lot more than that.
Why?
But what I'm saying is now,
is he getting off of that? Why?
But that's what I want to ask. But now, in his mentality, his ego is going to be, I got away with it. I can do it more. I can do more.
Sure. But why and how is he getting away with it?
Well, they've done an investigation. He's back on television. Why have him back on television? That sense to me that WWE's gone.
Investigation. It was just because his lawyers knew they got out. Why and how is he back on TV?
Velveteen Dream. That's the question I want to know. Like, how the hell do you have him back on TV?
Because, what's the other part of the story? Because he's got dirt on somebody else, or he's sucking cock of somebody else backstage who's higher up, and he knows where their skeletons are, and he's holding somebody else's feet to the fucking fire. Because that's what a worker would do, where you could have a silent passing in the hallway and in a look. Say it all. Go ahead and fucking fire me. I'll fucking reveal the fact that I blew you in your wife's fucking bed the other night or whatever, right? Like there's got to be that level of fucking snakery and holding something over somebody's head for him to be back on TV that way. There's an even deeper, darker secret that is yet to be revealed because it's keeping him on TV and back in the limelight. That's what's really going on.
True.
That's some crazy ass shit, man, that they would actually go to that level. I mean, he was caught, you know, trying chase after young boys, man. Like, how would you even like if a sponsor turned around and said, "Why are you guys doing it?" You know what I mean? Like, why do you have this guy here? Would then they say, "Well, we have to take him off," and then his leverage or his story has no weight, or it probably still has weight, but he's got nothing to gain from it.
Yeah, I can't see any other reason of bringing him back on at a time with no fans, no draw, as a liability to put him back in the ring just to say and open yourselves up to like we had an investigation and he's fine when everybody knows it's the other way. To me, there's a big piece of this that's not being said because you wouldn't what worker, a developmental worker at that would have that kind of leverage to get back on TV. There's a big something that's being unsaid here. I don't
Honestly,
know what it is, but
I was fucking surprised when he came back. Like, I was in shock. I thought, when everything happened, it was like, man, Velveteen's done. There's his career. Then the car accident happened, and I was like, okay, this guy's obviously coming a bit more unhinged. I honestly was shocked to see him come back and make that return.
Yeah, but let's also talk about what he's got on his side aside from that in 2020. What's going on in the streets? Black Lives Matter movement. So you're gonna plus they just got rid of the two other young dudes, ACH with the racial shirt, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
They got rid of Leo Rush talking some dumb shit. So here's another kid, and his gimmick is queer. So you've got the gay mafia side on your thing too. You want to go after. He knows he has that leverage because he's a worker. So he could pull the black card and he could pull the gay mafia card on him. So in the behind closed doors meetings with Triple H, Adam Pearce, and them when they're doing their thing, like, believe me, all that gets put out there. What about the blowback from race stuff? What about the blowback from gay community? He's going to play that against us. All right. Well, we better not pull the trigger on him. We'll keep him around and da-da-da. That's the snake meetings that happen. Am I wrong, Angel? And that kind of stuff, man? Like,
yeah,
out to that level.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah, it is at that level.
But that's the thing. I mean, Kev mentioned earlier the Enzo Amore thing and his investigation. They fired him before the investigation was complete.
They wanted a reason to. That dude had already gotten enough heat that that was the get him to the edge of the cliff, and that last thing was tink.
Because they even said, "Oh, it's not because we fired him because of that. It's because he didn't come up front in the beginning, and we had to learn it at the back end." Bullshit. It's none of your fucking business what I do, especially if I know it's false. Yeah,
but that would be in their contract that they would have to disclose that shit, right?
Yeah, they just want to catch you in a lie is the main thing. So they'll ask you about it. You'll backpedal and cover and think you're covered. They know you're lying, so they can come back later and hit you with that. That's how they got Deonna Purrazzo recently as well. She caused some drama of her own self, thought she was over. They called her in the office. She did this whole dramatic thing, laid it all out, got caught in a lie, and that was enough to fucking be like, thank you, because they're tired of you for X amount of other reasons. They're just looking to trip you up in a trap to get you one time. That's all they give a fuck about.
Yeah, just to find that reason to fuck you off.
They love it. They love that more than the wrestling, than the money, than the sponsors, than the ratings, to get that satisfaction of brought them in, tested them. He fucked up. Now cut their throat, watch them dance, and then see ya. And I'm still here. They live for that fucking pleasure, dude. That's their whole everything.
Yeah, no, and well, you've definitely seen it for a lot of years over time and time. But that's the thing, man. So, Kevin, look, what's your thoughts on the whole situation, the investigation, and where it stands as it is now?
The investigation was shit, and he's a shitbag, and he needs to be fucking fired. I mean,
Angel?
I could sit here and I can go into all these different things. I can break down every opinion that I have. But at the end of the day, that's exactly what it is. It's an opinion. But when you have the amount of evidence, like when you have his confirmed phone number, when you have his confirmed verified social media account, when you have voice recordings that were his and pictures that he said, I took those. You could say your Instagram was hacked, but was your Instagram, your phone, your camera, does somebody have a voice changer that sounds just like you? Were all these things hacked? Absolutely not. And I very much agree with what Ben said, that the reason people get fired and the reason people stay, somebody's got a trump card on somebody. Somebody's got the dirt on you. And it's like, so there's this old tale of a scorpion climbing on the back of a turtle, and the turtle crosses the lake, and the turtle says, "How do I know you're not going to sting me?" And the scorpion goes, "Because I need you." They get into the middle of the lake. Scorpion stings the turtle. Turtle dies. Scorpion drowns. Because the scorpion did what he did, killed them both. This is very much it. WWE is the scorpion. Velveteen is the turtle. Except in this case, the scorpion's not going to sting the turtle because they need each other.
This is total hypothetical, and you want to talk, and I just think about the players in the game and the game himself. Who's the head of that? Who's the top coach at NXT?
Head coach Matt Bloom.
I thought it was Albert.
It's Matt Bloom.
What's he known for?
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting his real name. Yeah.
What's his whole gimmick? Prince Albert,
Prince
right?
Albert.
Yeah.
All this pseudo-sexual shit. Yeah, how about all the pictures with him and fucking what's the demon dude?
Balor.
What's that?
Finn Balor.
Finn Balor riding around like a leather daddy and a twink on the back of his motorcycle around him, and all these like obvious like what's going on pictures. Finn Balor in a sailor outfit. Oh boy, anchors away, me boys. Like, you know, like all these little weird
young man.
Yeah. Well, all these little weird things that show who they truly are behind the scenes, that show. And then he runs off and gets married and his push is over. Is that wife a beard? Is there really some weird sexual deviancy going on behind the scenes at NXT? And if they are, birds of a feather are going to flock together. And is that where the dirt lies? And is that why he still has his job?
Yeah.
Very good insight there, Ben. Very good insight. Angel, what's your thoughts on this? Wrapping it up.
Hang that black bastard. That's how I say. I just
Angel, please fucking see.
Yeah.
Jesus.
No, but seriously, I mean,
That's how Wrestling with Tragedy got canceled.
it's just
Sorry,
that,
Vince.
I mean, I say what I say, but the thing is that the problem with if it was back in the days, you would just get booted, man. I mean, Vince would just boot you. Don't want no problems. He would just get rid of you. You know, I mean, it's just I don't know. They should just get rid of the motherfucker because either two things are going to happen. Either he's not going to do anything anymore and just kind of like stay low key, or something worse is going to happen and it's going to put egg on WWE's face. You know, so is that the risk they want to take? Because it could be worse. There could be like some deeper shit that might come up, you know, kids in the basement, it rubs the lotion on its skin or it gets the hose type of shit. And then, you know, and then all of a sudden they're going to be like, fuck, we could have let him go and avoided all this bullshit. Now we have to cover this up. I mean, they did it with the Jimmy Snuka situation. I mean, I like Jimmy, but that's the story that they covered that up, you know, with the suitcase full of money.
Patterson.
The Pat Patterson situation, you know.
Jerry
Lawler. I mean, it's just, like you said, I mean,
Stephen Macho.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line is,
it depends how much they like you.
Yeah, I mean,
it depends how much they like you.
And how much does your pony push fucking mean to us, and how much dirt do you have on us at the end of the day?
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, bottom line is, I think they should just cut ties and just cut the losses and just rebuild somebody else. You know, I mean, they have other black guys they can make superstars. I just think they should just cut their losses, but I'm not in charge. I mean, they did their appropriate investigation and they found out without a shadow of a doubt, he's innocent because Triple H says so. Fucking the Sherlock Holmes of the WWE. Elementary, dear fucker.
I don't know. I think he needs a third. 13-year-old valet. I think that would really add to the whole thing and get a lot of heat on him. Play right into it, man. Like, don't put it over, but put it. No, I'm fucking with you. Like,
What about if you copy? What about if you copy Dalton Castle's entrance in Ring of Honor and just get a couple of young boys fanning him coming out to the ring?
Oh yeah, and do the oh my god, the guy from TNA back in the days when he shot the lotion on himself.
Oh yeah.
You know, both valet.
Yeah.
So hit him in the mouth. You know, I mean, shit.
Nah.
You know, if they want to kick it up a notch, do that. You know, and then as Tessa Blanchard shits on them from the fucking Titantron from the top. You know,
Yeah, all of your Pornhub sexual deviancy in one character. Can you get it all in? I imagine they can.
drink it in, man.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Should he be gone? Usually, people in this business fail upwards. The more of a shitbag you are, it seems the farther you get to go until you finally get your throat cut. We'll see if more of this bad behavior manifests itself going forward, because usually if you're doing that kind of stuff, you guys see it on the YouTubes where they lure, you know, people into hotels to expose them, dads against predators, things along those lines. I don't think it would take much for him to show up on a video like that, because if you can be triggered by those DMs and you really know what you have to lose, but you're still asking for pictures of a 16-year-old, they could lure you down to the fucking Marriott after a conversation. You could get catfished. Then WWE really would be in a bad spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they will be full
They'd
bar.
have to terminate him. They'd have no other option.
Yeah.
Terminate and cut the ties. You know, and that's the thing. You know, my final thoughts on, I think that, you know, the investigation was bullshit. I think that Velveteen Dream, obviously, as Ben pointed out, may have some strong heat or strong dirt on someone higher up in the WWE or the NXT management. But for me, I think that, you know, bringing him back is a big mistake. I think that they should have definitely left it for a lot longer. After reading the evidence that's come out from the young victim, saying that he wasn't contacted for an investigation. WWE should release the facts of this investigation. They should somehow provide what they actually went through and the detail that they found and the findings from that investigation, which they haven't yet currently done. So, you know, at the moment, WWE just saying, no, we looked into it and it's all fine. Trust me, it's okay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You're gonna eventually, something's gonna happen where there's gonna be, like Ben said, they're gonna find them in a hotel room with videos dancing to "Sexy Motherfucker" with 14-year-old boys, and then they're gonna be like with their mouth open, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, we didn't know," you know, they're just gonna cover their ass like they always do, and then just throw that guy under the bus, which he deserves. I'm just saying.
I agree, man. I agree. I think I think that guy's got to fucking be buried very quick. But guys, we are hit that 1 hour mark. We are just going to start wrapping things up. Angel, you want to thank some of our sponsors for joining us?
No, fuck no, because you do a better job than I do. I always stutter and fuck it up. I just say Westlife.
A-Rock Designs on Facebook. If you want to get any cool wrestling related cups, hoodies, t-shirts, keychains, tumblers, t-shirts,
It's Tourette's.
head over to A-Rock Designs on Facebook and speak to Ms. Ashley Rodriguez. Next is WhatsApp championship belts. They make amazing championship belts. You want a custom championship belt or a replica championship belt, head over to their Facebook group, speak to Kevin and myself, and we'll be able to arrange an amazing belt for you for a great price and have special payment plans in place as well. Also, just want to thank the Cicadas Band for providing our intro and outro music for our show, and also the man himself, Vince Russo, for giving us a platform to air our show every single week on the Vince Russo Network. And special thank.
I was just gonna say I want to thank Ben Harmon for coming on the show. It was a pleasure with your wrestling knowledge. You know, I mean, again, you're our first guest. I mean, you should be. I mean, this is an honor for us to have you on.
I didn't know. And thank you very much.
You know, I mean, and we have to let him close off the show with one of his classic endings, man. Because if it's not we have to. You guys agree?
Absolutely. I mean, Kev, you want to get anything in, man?
Oh no, I'm good, man. Just sponsors been covered. Please, while you're here, let everybody know where they can find you, follow you, and all that good stuff.
And close it off.
You can find me probably as soon as the indies start up. I'm going to have a big ladder match with Kevin. We're going to go out there and work hard. We're going to climb for that title and not get our shit in and just look at the camera to mark out for ourselves. And we're going to do things the real way, Infidels, at Wrestling with Tragedy. You can find them at russosbrand.com soon enough, and you can check them out on the Russo affiliate page on YouTube right now. Go subscribe or get a $5 face slap. You know where the real free media is. It's hackerhameen.podbean.com. Hacker Hameen on your FM dials, Hameen Media Group, Infidels, ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben Hameen, and PayPal $5. And we'll come over there and slap your infidel moron face, because there's nothing more tragic in wrestling than a Ben Hameen drop kick. But we're going to do one off the top rope right now, Infidels, and take it home. YOLO!
And that's all we have to say.
Brother.